Do you love public transport as much as he does?
Not really.
Oh.
I love driving my car, playing white girl bangers.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Chip Lunch podcast. It's exciting to be back on this lounge. It's a warm day, but you've got a cold brew.
Yes,
is that what
yes.
we're saying? See, I think hello, Brayden.
Hello. Just get straight into it.
I was like, who cares who's on the podcast? I'm just talking. The cold coffee looks appealing to me because I really like cold drinks.
Yeah.
I can't do coffee.
Yeah, that's fair enough. One day
I'm
you'll
with you.
grow up.
Oh,
Yeah.
No coffee.
No coffee.
That person inserting themselves into the conversation. Emily, welcome.
Thank you.
Already done many podcasts yourself, as we were finding out.
Yes, but I'm usually the one asking the question. So this is a bit new for me.
Yeah, that's right. But as we always say, when you come on the Chip Lunch podcast, you are an expert in the topic, which is yourself.
Yes.
It's a lovely tagline.
Yes, well, it's probably the tagline underneath the stories of Jesus changing everything.
That's probably a more important tagline.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good place to start, and then we'll maybe delve into why you ended up doing that. But what is your podcast called? Because if people want to listen to it,
It's called Bedside Murmurs, and so I run it with a few uni students. They're all my friends, so we run it together.
Yeah, it's
we
cool.
just interview different doctors about what they're doing, why they chose to do different things. We've chatted to some interesting people.
how do you get them on as a guest?
I cold email them.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm just a fearless cold emailer.
That's
I'll be like,
impressive.
"Hi, I'm Emily. I may have stalked your Instagram and your LinkedIn. You look cool. Do you want to come? Yeah." And they often say yes.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
cool.
cold emailing
Because
is
they probably
fantastic.
they probably don't get people asking to be on podcasts that often, right?
No, or maybe I'm just really hemming it up in my email, being like, I'm just a medical student. I just want to learn. It's a learning
yeah.
experience.
It's like you
and they
one
love
day.
it.
Oh, yeah, you were
Yeah.
like this one day. Please help me
Yeah,
out.
please help me.
It's still a pretty clever way to get the in.
It works though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone's lovely.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a good time.
What can I ask you? What's been your favorite episode of that podcast that you've done?
Ooh, my favorite episode.
Because you sent it to me the other day, and I was listening to it, and I actually feel like I have to remember who. Oh, it's not coming
I'm
up.
trying to think who was the most fun person. We've had lots of interesting people. There was a guy called Dr. Ben Bravery who wrote a book about his experiences having colorectal cancer when he was in his early 20s and how he then became a doctor. He's so lovely, so articulate. It's a really inspiring journey. So I'd recommend that, like reading his book. It's called The Patient Doctor. That was really cool.
I'm just going Dr. Bravery is a wild.
Yeah,
I didn't get
yeah.
past the first thing he said.
Yeah, Dr.
Dr.
Bravery.
Bravery.
Yeah.
Wow, Dr.
a cool
Bravery.
name.
That's a made up name for sure.
Or it sounds like he was like the doctor on like a ship. You know, like a man of war ship.
Ah,
And
yeah.
used
Yeah.
to cut people's arms off and stuff like
Yes.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wow, I went like it sounds like a made up doctor name as in like ER or something like Dr.
Oh.
Yeah, like if you're going to make like a TV
Yeah,
show.
exactly.
Like,
yeah, like
Grey's
a
Anatomy.
Yes.
I'm fully with you. I think that was probably the most fun, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I was listening to the one you sent me, and then I had a look and like Dr. Sonia Henry.
Yes.
That was quite interesting.
Yeah, she's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, she goes and does outback work and has written a couple of books about her life and also fiction books. So that's cool.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing with people that are doctors. They're actually doing a whole lot of other stuff along with like podcasts and books and stuff.
Oh, there was this thing that I went to earlier in the year, met a couple of doctors who did different things. And one of them was a doctor and a DJ. And he played some of his music at this thing we were at, and we were just listening and we were like, good on him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of different side hustles you can do,
Yeah.
but also lots of flexibility. And I think that's a really big thing.
Oh, okay, so you can do
Yeah.
that. Because that was, as we were saying, like that, I was telling you about that kind of medical study exam community on YouTube is like pretty hectic. And actually, I actually got a lot out of it. Like, that's what I should have done when I was in year 12. Because their study techniques are way, way better than like the forgetting curve. Have you heard about that? So you like learn something, but then over time you obviously forget it. So it's a curves downward. So you need to maintain keep the forgetting curve up. So you keep remembering, and so it becomes more solidified in your memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you use flashcards for college, don't you?
I have, yes.
It's a similar thing. Like that's a way of remembering it, of mitigating the forgetting curve.
Yeah, yeah. And I think there's something to do with, I think you figure out the way that you learn best. Like if I can associate something with something visual, then it's like in there. And I think that's why music theory was easier for me to remember than say like something to do with maths.
Does that mean you're like a mind mapper?
No, yeah, I guess so. I definitely write stuff down.
That's
like,
how you do your sermons too.
Yeah. My sermons are very color coded in terms of theme and stuff. But,
Are there like specific colors associated with different themes?
Yeah. I've been pretty consistent for a little while. So like,
give us the
red is like an application point.
Okay.
Purple is like to do with the overall themes of the passage. So say like a big theme in the passage is God's sovereignty. Then that'll all be purple. Blue is prayer. Like that's just at the start and the end. Yellow is the actual verses that I'm preaching from. So say we're doing 1 Peter at the moment, there'll be 1 Peter. Green will be a verse, but it won't be a verse that's in the actual passage we're preaching on. So say I'm preaching on 1 Peter, but there's a great bit it references a bit in Exodus or something. That'll be green.
All right.
So, that's really cool. I really like that. Big respect.
But it's more, it's mainly so that I can look down and it's not just words. It's actually like, I can kind of get a theme of where I'm going.
But it puts you in a kind of slightly different mindset. You know what you're reading. Like, I'm moving to this kind of
For me,
idea.
It's being able to glance at it like you can glance at like sheet music where it's like, you can just look and then you look up and you already have it. You still have the picture in your head of what you're doing.
Right.
Without having to be like, it's word. It's just like, it's this chunk and then this chunk. And all I need to think about is how I'm going to communicate that and get to that rather than think about what is that? What is the next word? What is the next word?
Well, this is what this is really interesting because this is what I love and why I brought up the YouTuber community in the medical space too, is because I love seeing how like other people's process. So then I can pick and choose bits in that. Like, because I think I was saying to you that, I've only preached twice. But mine is a lot of like dot point, and I want to work out a better way of not looking at that, or having to look at every single line, almost to know my sermon. Which is yours is almost more thematic, and then you can come back to you can fall into it if you do go off a little bit.
I like to be able to. I like jump back in points. If I accidentally wander off, I can jump back in. Because I will wander off.
And that's the colour will make it easier for you to do that. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're cool.
Yeah, it is. See, that's the stuff I love talking about. Anyway, we actually got a guest on, Brady.
That was so interesting.
Yeah.
That's what I really like talking about that stuff. But Emily, let's make you the interesting topic now.
Okay.
First question that we always ask is, how do you like to eat hot chips?
I have to say from the outset, I love hot chips. So if anyone gives me any type of hot chips, I'm just going to accept them and eat them because I'm just a grateful poor uni student. I'm like, if you give me hot chips, thank you. Day, week, made. But I do have a specific type of hot chip that I really love.
Excellent.
So probably about, 10 centimeters long.
Oh, you've got a length of, okay. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like, bit of like a golden crisp on the outside, and then on the middle, like nice and pillowy potato. I want it to be golden, like a good crunch, and then it's nice and pillowy, and it has to have lots of chicken salt.
Oh no!
And tomato sauce, but the tomato sauce on the side, so I can dip it in, not on top, because then everything gets soggy.
Gets soggy. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. I think we agree on that at least. You got to dip. You can't cover in sauce.
I'm so glad.
I'm so glad that the podcast is over.
Yeah.
We all agree on hot chips.
Yeah. The question I had though was, where do you get that 10 centimeter length? Is there a place that you can get them from?
Not particularly. I feel like that's just like the median length that I think of. And then like everything around that is like okay. But it's 10 centimeters is just perfect. Though El Jana opened up across the road from where my research building was this year. That was so dangerous because it was in the last month of when I was writing up my research. And when, I don't know if either of you have written long pieces of work, but when you do, by the last month you get delusional.
Right.
And all I could think about was hot chips. So I'd be writing. And then I'd look down and I could see the building. Because I was next to the window and I could see it.
I deserve a little reward.
A little reward.
Working this hard.
And then they'd give you 20% off on Monday. That had me. It had me.
Yeah, like four big packets of chips.
Oh yeah. I just would bring them up and I'd just eat them at my desk and it was beautiful. And they were usually that big in length.
Oh wow. How long was this piece of writing that you were doing?
It was, how many words was it? I think 5,000. So it definitely could have been longer, but I'm just a slow writer. But maybe that was just because I kept thinking about chips and not writing.
Yeah, right. I don't know if I've ever written 5,000 words. Have you?
Yeah.
Have you?
I've got one due the end of this month.
Oh, okay.
You got
There
this,
go.
Brayden.
It's the thing that's motivating me is it's my last essay at college.
Last thing
and
you have
I'm
Woohoo.
done. So,
last essay.
so yes, I'm
Amazing.
motivated by the finish line.
What
more
is
than
the
anything.
what is the topic?
Something to do with Romans. I don't know. I was
It
doing
always
another,
comes
I was
back to the
doing
Roman
another-
Empire.
Oh yes, it always does. I was doing something. I've got a few more essays to do that I did last night. But
Oh,
yes,
the Book of Romans. Is that what you
yes,
mean?
the Book of Romans, the one that Paul wrote.
Yes, the
Yes.
one that Pauline. What do they call it? Pauline.
Pauline.
writing?
Yeah,
What?
I think that's when they call like writings by Paul.
Pauline.
It's like a Pauline, like an encapsulation
Yeah,
of his
yeah,
writing is
yeah.
like Pauline.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so funny that they call him Pauline. It's like it's like he put a wig on. Started writing.
I don't know if Paul would like that.
Yes. I'm trying to think of a line that Paul's written. It's like, wives, submit. Like, just imagining a female voice. Anyway, second question, Emily, is how did you become a Christian?
It's a very good question.
Thank you. It's what we base this whole podcast on.
I'm glad that's the case. Well, I've always grown up in a Christian family. My parents always definitely introduced the gospel to me and my sisters from a very early age, which was a humongous blessing. So I'd say throughout my life, there probably hasn't been a time that I haven't known that God was there. And that's always been something that I've been very grateful for. But I think there have been different points along my life where I've definitely had to make that decision for myself, because I think a lot of people assume that if you come from a Christian family, you're just automatically a Christian, especially if you aren't a Christian. You go, oh, their family's just Christian, that's why she's Christian. So I think probably the first time I properly came to go, okay, this is what I believe in, this is what I'm going to base my life on. It's probably at the end of primary school, and we had a lovely teacher, and she used to run like a lunchtime Bible study at lunchtime, and we used to go there and read the Bible ourselves, and she really pushed us to think about, what's the Bible saying? You're going into high school, you need to think about, Jesus claims. You can't just, believe it because your parents said it's the truth, but you actually need to read the Bible for yourself, develop a relationship with God. And that was really impactful on me. And I think I had a good understanding of the Bible up until then, but I was definitely the kid in kids' church who liked to answer questions. I put my hand up and go, I know that story. But I think realizing that it wasn't just about knowing things, it was actually a personal relationship with God. So that was a big realization. And then I think throughout high school, I was very blessed to go to a very good school with good Christian teaching. I have a lovely group of friends who I still keep in contact with who are, very solid Christians, and we went throughout high school together. There were different things that happened throughout high school, I guess, that made me think, what is my life based on? There was a period in year 9, year 10 where I just had a lot of quite overwhelming anxiety just about different things happening in my life. And I thought to myself, if it was almost a bit of like an existential little crisis. I think that will hit, maybe a lot of people at some point in their life. It definitely hit me very hard then. And I had to think to myself, if God's real, does he love me? And can he forgive me? And that just ruminated over and over in my head for quite a long time. And it really shook me up, actually. But I continued going along to church, youth group, Bible study, and my friends were a great encouragement. One book I read was Timothy Keller's The Reason for God. That was a really helpful book.
Yep.
And reading the Bible for myself and developing good habits. I think it's there in the Bible that you see God for who he is, and you see that through Jesus. So that was a really important time in my life. And then I think from then my faith strengthened a lot because I developed a proper, strong relationship with God. And that carried me through high school. And then, since then, I've been blessed with a lot of good Christian friends, great church, great supports at uni. So, yeah, I guess that's it in short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's dive into it a little bit. So,
Okay.
you said that you grew up going to church.
Mhm.
What do you have like any first memories of understanding the Bible, or understanding Jesus, or what God has done for you? It's okay if you know. Because what church were you at?
I was at Engadine Anglican.
Okay.
So my parents had been there since they were very young.
Mm.
So that's where they met. And then I was there until the end of year 11.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. Oh,
It's okay if you can't remember.
I don't think I can.
Mm.
I think I just, like, I remember going along to like playgroup at Engadine Anglican.
There you go.
And then like going into kids' church and sitting down in the big hall and then having little like Bible studies with the leaders and opening up the Bible. I think I remember later primary school probably a bit more.
Yeah. That's all right.
Yeah.
And so you said you kind of, there was that point in year 6. Was it year 6?
Yeah, it was
where
year
you had
6.
that teacher. And helping you to understand that it's not just about knowing the Bible, like the head knowledge. It was about having a genuine relationship and your heart is for Jesus. What do you think changed for you just in that moment, like going forward?
I think what changed for me in that moment was realizing that it wasn't just head knowledge and performance in terms of being able to know things and go, okay, I know that Jesus died on the cross for my sins. I know that, you know, that's the only way I can go to heaven. But she was going, actually, you can't do anything to earn salvation.
Right.
And it's actually only through trusting in the Lord and the fact that he has saved you and you're now in a relationship with him. And I think reading passages in the New Testament, especially like in Ephesians together, that definitely made me think pretty deeply about, you know, was I just, you know, yes, I believed in God, but was I just thinking that I could make it to heaven because I was good enough and always had been a good person in primary school? I think that's what changed. It was realizing, oh, I'm actually not that good. Before God, I'm actually nothing. I'm actually a sinner. And nothing I do will impress him. It's actually only through Jesus.
Right.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I was just like, because you just noticed you said performance before. Is that something that you think has been part of your life that you've had to kind of grapple with?
I think it has been. I think in earlier primary school it was because I didn't have a lot of friends at the primary school I was at. It often felt like I didn't really fit in with the other kids. I didn't really love sport. I liked reading a lot. I actually liked school a lot.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the other kids, we just didn't gel along that well. And so sometimes it felt like to be able to be liked by people, I'd have to stand out or perform in a different way, if that makes sense.
Like in what way?
Just do well at school or just try and be overly friendly sometimes, I think, in primary school.
Okay.
I'm quite a genuine person normally, but I think there were points where I was like, I just don't feel like anyone gets me. And so it was, well, perform well at school, and that can be a good, I guess, way out to deal with less friends at school.
Yeah,
I had a lot of friends at church, but I think at school that was something I used to think about. That changed when I moved to a different school, but from like kindergarten to year 4. Yeah.
So does that mean that I had a question there and it completely went out of my head. That's why I'm sounding so stupid right now. I was going to say, the reading. You mentioned reading. Why do you love reading so much? Was that an escape for you as well? Because I'm thinking about, for example, with Fee's podcast, when she did Chip Lunch, the 4-parter that we did with Fee, was that one of the things that kind of similar things that you're saying, that she felt she didn't fit in sometimes, and a way to escape was to enter a different world, especially of fiction. Is that something that you enjoyed as well?
Absolutely.
Right.
Reading was something that I always loved from like a very, very young age. And throughout primary school, that was my like absolute love. Like just reading books, all different kinds. I have a very big bookshelf still at home, and I still love reading a lot. My taste has changed, but I think reading in primary school was a very, very big thing for me. And I just love learning things. Like that is just something I've always loved. And I
like
think
a
that
curiosity kind of thing?
Yeah. And I think that was also a big thing in primary school as well. That was something that I liked. That was something that I could, really invest myself in. And then properly starting to read the Bible for myself, I was like, oh, there's so much here.
And so many stories.
There's so many stories,
Yeah.
so many interesting stories. And I think reading the New Testament especially, because Paul and Timothy, they write so well.
The Pauline writings.
I mean, I think Paul needs some more full stops in there. Like he'll go through, and you're like, there's a lot of commas, a lot of semicolons. Like, are we going to get a full stop?
I
But
find that
Well,
hard sometimes.
reading that
Go
for
on, no,
It
myself.
was written without, there was no spaces, let alone punctuation.
There was no spaces in there.
No.
Oh
there's
my
no-
goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just written as one long thing.
One long word.
I feel like Paul would have
there's-
loved
the
that.
punctuation was added later. The spaces were added before that.
Wow.
This is in Greek, right?
Yep.
It would have been written in Greek.
That's
Yeah.
so interesting.
Wow.
So, yeah, you can't blame Paul for where the full
Did Paul
stops
actually
are.
write it, or did he have someone writing it for him?
He probably was dictating it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it was the writer's fault.
Yeah. Well, that was you can't waste. Think about how expensive.
Oh, true.
Like I don't want to say paper because it wasn't paper, but like think about how expensive the whatever they were writing
Writing
on,
material.
papyrus probably they're writing on would be. So you don't want to waste space, literally.
And
With
Paul had so
spaces.
much to say,
Wow.
obviously.
Yeah. So yeah, it was kind
Let's
of
cram it
anyway.
on.
Yes.
Can you imagine translating that too? Like,
Oh my
that's hard work.
goodness.
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, it's just like one long thing. Anyway. Yeah.
Right. Did you? What's like around primary school time? What's your like go-to books? Like which ones did you read over and over again?
Oh,
Like, there's
historical
a couple-
fiction.
Ah,
I loved historical fiction
Okay.
so much.
like what?
Like, I'm trying to think. There was a lot of Jackie French books I used to read, like all the Australian fiction, and then a lot of British war fiction, like British World War II history. I loved those books.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I
Is there
love
many
those
written
books.
at like children's level, or is it more so like more adult? Adult.
There are quite a few for like kids, and then I guess younger adult, like all the My Story books were all about like they'd have like My Story, like different people, and it was like a peasant girl in the medieval like England, and then there'd be like a Roman slave girl, and it was just like really random books, but I loved them.
My daughter reads. I can't remember what it is, but it's like a graphic novel. But it's like this was me in World War II and stuff.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard about the molasses disaster? Somewhere in America,
No.
in like 1800s or 1900s, this like huge vat of molasses like exploded
Oh,
and flooded the town, and heaps of people died of it and stuff.
it sounds like the Boston Tea Party.
Yeah, similar kind
They
of
seem to
thing.
have a
right?
lot of food disasters in America.
It still continues. I think I think there's still a few food disasters when I went over there. But okay, so sorry, Jackie French, World War II historical fiction.
Yeah.
Anything else? Because I feel like you would have been considered slightly odd if you were reading World War II historical fiction in primary school as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Also like 1800s, like Victorian England. Like that
Oh
has
my
been like my favorite
Oh,
genre for so long.
I can't
Still
stand
is.
that section.
I'm so sorry, Joel.
It's just I
Like
don't
when
know
I
why.
got older and I discovered Charles Dickens,
Ah.
like all the like Bronte sisters.
I don't know. I just can't do the whole. Oh, when will this man recognize me? That kind of stuff. It just annoys me so much.
True, but Charles Dickens is
Good.
like really gritty and
Okay.
really down to earth, and a lot of the things he talks about are still really, I think, consistent themes that still extend today. Like a lot of things about poverty, injustice, thinking about the way society is structured and is that fair?
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. Prove me wrong. That's good.
Yeah.
I remember I read Dickens for school, but I can't remember what it was, and it annoyed me so much. What was it?
Great Expectations.
Yes, that's exactly what I was.
It's one of my favorite books.
So when
We can
used
agree to disagree.
Yeah, no, that's why that I'm totally fine if you enjoy it. That's the reason that I think I've disliked that book so much is because it was what we studied for English.
That's so fair.
Because like I remember when we used to do scripture at school, like Stu or Chris Stevens would come and say, "Oh, so what are you guys reading at the moment?" Like asking about read the Bible, and we'd always say Great Expectations. Like, we'd be so annoyed about it. I think it must have been year 11 or something like that. But okay, tell me why Great Expectations is your favourite book though. From Dickens,
I
anyway.
did it for year 12.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think
Must
it's
have been
just
year 12 when I was reading it.
it's just really interesting in terms of the characters and the way that they develop. Like you see Pip and what he does is he's like has these fantastic expectations and really big ambitions to go become like a gentleman, and he gets a huge inheritance, and then he goes to London. And I was tutoring a girl for this text this year in English, and I was like, probably the best way to describe him is a bit of like a povo jerk. Like he just goes to England, so he goes to London, and then he just like spends all of his money and is mean to everyone, like all of his family back home, and he forgets his roots. So like his, you know, I guess father figure Joe, like Joe is like such a lovely guy, and then he's just like, no Joe, I don't want to talk to you anymore. And then at the end there's like this whole like reconciling. It's like Pip realizes his downfall, he apologizes, and it's a nice little arc. But also you see big commentaries by Dickens on what does it mean to be human, have ambition, but when that ambition is overtaking and over consuming, what happens then? And I think you see, I mean, Dickens wasn't Christian, but you can see the ramifications of that selfishness extend to him, to other people. And I think it's just a very interesting commentary on human nature and thinking about that.
I see. Why couldn't you have been my English teacher? Because that actually sounded quite interesting to me. Like that was just like, it's so funny because the names and stuff, I'm like, oh, I remember that.
Like Miss Havisham?
Yeah, I remember all that, but I don't remember the story. I just remember that. But then as soon as you started saying like Pip and stuff, I just remembered like the you know, those old books.
Yeah.
Like I just remember what the pages were like and stuff because I remember reading it and going, what is this about? Like just, which I sound so dumb now doing that, but maybe you had a good teacher when you had.
I had a fantastic teacher,
See,
and she loved reading as well.
Such a difference when you have a good teacher.
It really does.
I was talking to. This comes up a lot. I got my haircut yesterday, and my hairdresser was talking about how she basically hated school. So she left really early. She like started her apprenticeship when she was like 14 or something, when she wasn't meant to for hairdressing. And she said the one teacher that she loved, like it's funny, she allowed her to have her phone on her desk, but also that she was treated with respect by the teacher. So she actually she loved maths in year 9 because of this teacher. And I'm like, that's such a difference maker when you've got a great teacher.
No, absolutely. And I think that in year 6 for me was, you know, the big initiator, like when that teacher made the initiative to have that lunchtime Bible study and she'd read us Christian books before we started for the day. That was so important. And even throughout high school, so many teachers that I had who were really solid Christian role models who demonstrated to me what it was like to live with Jesus at the center of your life.
That's
and
cool.
having him as your top priority, not your grades.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember Macy saying, we had Macy on for talking about finishing the HSC, and she's like, sometimes at school, because I know you guys went to the same school, Danebang, it's like sometimes it's like, you're not defined by a number, but then make sure you have study stickers. They just like it completely made it the opposite of what you're saying. But I also understand what you're saying. I mean, talking about good teachers, one of the reasons I love history is because of my modern history teacher. She was great. But I think as you get into that older part of high school, it's the respect that they, like if they treat you with respect, they're like, oh, they trust me to not, like be a little bit silly, but then they would say, okay, it's time to do this, it's time to do that. And the way that she would teach, she literally just sat at her desk, and there wasn't that many of us in modern history from year 11 to 12, but she sat at her desk and just taught us. Like sometimes we would watch videos, but she just taught from sitting at her desk. She was like this Mrs. Ship. She was awesome. Probably the best high school teacher I had. She had like this like afro, like small afro. And so one of my friends once dusted her hair with the chalkboard duster, but she was cool with it.
Wow.
Like, because she was talking about her hair. We were asking about it. And he's like, what if I dust it a bit? He's like, just taps the chalkboard duster on. She also, because she was short, they put the chalkboard duster at the top of the chalkboard so she couldn't reach it.
That's just cruel.
Yeah. Do you have any good teachers, Brad?
I had heaps of good teachers.
Oh,
I had heaps of good teachers.
jealous.
I think I appreciated the good ones I had when I got bad ones. I had pretty bad ones in year 12. It made me it made me like.
That's like the worst way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I got flipped. I think it got flipped. The only thing I remember about my English teacher is that he looked like a koala. I can't even tell you what text we did. But
Hey, Blinky Bill.
He looked like a koala. I won't name him on here, but yeah,
No,
definitely looked like a koala and acted like a koala.
Was he eating eucalyptus drops all the time or something?
Definitely
Sleepy?
eucalyptus. Yeah, sleepy is a good
Sleepy
word.
eucalyptus drops.
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, good teachers make a difference. So I think you said you finished primary school not finished. You left your first primary school in year 4. Is that when you went to Danebank?
Yes, that's
year
when I went to
5 onwards?
Danebank.
Okay. So then you've got this year 6 teacher.
Yep.
Who was she Christian studies or scripture, or was she?
She was just my year 6 teacher.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Oh, of course, because if you're year 6, you don't change it. For some reason,
Yeah.
I said that you might move around. Also, because my wife teaches a Christian school and they have a middle school,
Yes.
which is another interesting, which is actually where your mum works as
It
well.
is.
Anyway, the question I've got is that going to high school, was that transition easy given that you were still kind of at the same school? Or okay.
Yeah, it was pretty easy.
But then you're just like going to timetables and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
And I love that stuff. Like organization. Yes.
Oh, let's delve into this. So, hang on, can I ask you a question? Because I know
Yes.
you're sometimes quite similar to my son Leo. Do you love public transport as much as he does?
Not really.
Oh.
I love driving my car. Playing white girl bangers. Everyone who gets in my car is subjected to them, but that's okay.
Does this mean this? So it's like Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
What else?
Honestly, it depends on the mood. Sometimes
Honestly, it's just Taylor Swift.
It's mainly just Taylor Swift. But when I'm listening by myself, I normally don't listen to Taylor Swift. I normally listen to a lot of other stuff. But
Okay.
in the
But when
car.
people are in the car.
Oh, when
with you.
people are in the car, it's Taylor Swift time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me the appeal of Taylor Swift? I think she is a genuinely good artist, but I really can't get into it. And she is so
I'd argue
applicable.
that it's not made for you, Joel.
It's not. But
I think I
here's the
agree with
thing.
Brayden.
Here's the thing for Taylor Swift, though. She's appealed to multiple generations now,
Yes.
which is what
That
I
are
find.
not your...
I know. That's why I'm
Vintage
asking to
or gender.
understand. I'm trying to understand. What is the appeal of Taylor Swift to you? She just speaks to to women. Is
I
that what
think
it
it was just when I was 8, that was the first album I got as a present from my parents. Like that was my
wow.
birthday present. I got a little iPod Nano
Hey.
and I got Taylor Swift Red. And that was when she was in it was like just country music really. A
Yeah.
little bit of pop, but I just really loved like dancing around in my room, singing to Taylor Swift. Like for me, that was just something that I just loved. And then I think when she released every album, it was almost like when she was growing up. Yes, she was a few life stages ahead of me, but I liked seeing how things changed. And some of the albums I think are better than others, but some of them have very interesting lyrics. Obviously, I don't agree with all of her standpoints and perspectives about things, but I think you can see a lot of interesting commentaries on her life and about other people in her lyrics, and I like that.
What do you think of the latest album? Oh,
I think
You
it's
are
like
not-
That's a
You
lot
don't
of
like it.
people's reaction.
yeah.
I think it's nice and boppy, but it's probably not as much as what I listen to at the moment. Yeah, so I appreciate the boppy vibes, and if I need like a little pick me up,
I read there's some rude lyrics in that.
there
in that
are.
album.
So that's also why I'm like,
She's
but yeah.
she's gone. She's like, I've got to change my image now that I'm getting married.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
But
look, Braden's got things to say here. Look,
Hanging out with Sabrina too much.
Sabrina Carpenter.
I think I agree.
I was just
Shout
thinking.
out.
I thought you were going to say Travis.
No.
No,
I don't think he would have that much musical influence. But
no,
find
he
out.
wouldn't at all. I don't think.
I don't know. I
Well, I
view
think he's got
Taylor, I view
influence on the
Taylor Swift
lyrics.
like some people view Harry Potter. Some people grew up and their life stages actually lined up with the books coming out. And I think Taylor has had, like we said with sermons, a lot of inroads where people could jump on and they have nostalgia for certain eras
Yeah.
of Taylor's discography because that's where they jumped on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been lots of entry points.
I agree.
I agree. Well done.
I also don't care for Taylor at all, but I
Yeah,
have
either do
a
I.
lot of people in my life who really like
But it's like even my daughters are like, yeah, Taylor Swift. I'm like, wow, that's great. The influence she has over so many different ages.
Well, yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
the thing is that it's gone
Yeah.
on for so long.
Because how old is she now? She's like 36 or something, 37.
She's born in 1989, so yeah,
Oh, of course, because isn't that that's one of her albums? Isn't
yeah,
it?
Yep.
a good album.
Yeah, she'd be 30. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's not do maths right now. The question I was going to ask you though, so you're going to high school. Danebank is well, I wouldn't say anomaly. It's a Christian school, but would you say everyone's a Christian there?
No,
Okay, so is that a difficult thing for you to kind of grasp? I don't want to give Danebank a hard time, but just for you personally, I would be interested in your perspective of are you going in there going, or everyone's going to be a Christian, and then being surprised that they're not?
I think maybe in year 5 I did expect that because I was obviously pretty young then. But I think during high school I didn't have the expectation that everyone was a Christian, but I think there was the expectation that their family knew that they were sending their daughter there as it's an Anglican school, and you will be taught from the Bible, and that will be something that's an important part of the school. And so I think even though you may not have been a Christian, you would have at least potentially heard of things from home, or even if your family wasn't Christian, maybe Christianized in terms of more like Christian values of being kind and generous and things like that. There were a few families who sent their daughters from Muslim backgrounds, and there were some girls, because it's single sex, so that's often why.
Okay.
Yeah. But there was also some girls who were very open about the fact that they did not like Christianity. But I think, again, I was very blessed to have a lot of very good Christian friends with me who remain some of my closest friends, and the teachers are predominantly Christian, and there was a lot of very strong Christians. So I think even if we had disagreements with girls in class, that was never something that was a huge thing on my mind, because it was always, we're going to chat about it openly. And the school facilitated that really well, I thought. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So, because I understand the point of having a Christian school is teaching everything through a Christian lens.
Probably not so much for Deanbank, I guess, because in terms of other private schools around Sydney, it's probably predominantly a private school, and then it's a affiliated it's Anglican school, and that means there can be some wavering things between schools. So there are some particular schools, girls or boys schools, that I would say don't emphasize the gospel as much. They'd say that they are an Anglican or a Methodist school, but their values were very far from it. And I guess that is a bit of a danger that can happen at a school like Deanbank. I think, though, because the Anglican Schools Corporation is really good and really solid, and we have a lot of really good people on the school board who care about Christian teaching, not just Christian values, but Christian teaching and the truth of the gospel being at the core of Deanbank, I think that then meant that it wasn't just a half-hearted thing, but actually, even if learning wasn't through always the lens of a Christian perspective, it was always emphasized that this is how we are to live, if that makes sense. So we weren't viewing, say, when I did modern history, we weren't looking at it through a Christian lens. It was just this is just history. But I think the whole thing is God made the whole world. It's His world, and I think even if we weren't explicitly saying it, we had conversations outside class or in chapel about those things. So I guess probably less of a Christian focus is applied to everything, explicitly, if that makes sense.
Yep. But
we definitely would talk about it in class openly as well. It would come up.
Did you like being able to do that?
I did.
What are the kind of conversations that come up? Because Brandon and I, we both went to a public school, high school. What are the kind of conversations that come up? Or if you can think of an example where you're talking about something that happened in the world, in history or whatever.
Yeah.
Even in English, you're what if as a Christian, how would you view this differently?
I mean, one pretty pointy one in modern history. In year 12, we studied the Arab-Israeli conflict.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously a very continuing and pertinent thing with lots of different opinions, but that was really, really interesting to study and learn about the history, starting from early 1900s on. It gives you so much perspective. And chatting as a class about that. But then also my teacher was a Christian, so we chat about, as a Christian, where do we place ourselves now?
What was the kind of position taken? I'd be interested in that. If you can remember. It's okay if you can't. Not the position.
I mean, things obviously have changed in the last 4 or 5 years a lot.
Yes.
But I think there was recognition of, from probably a Christian perspective, less so than a historical perspective, there's been a lot of hurt on both sides.
Sure.
And I think you can see that there is a lot of sin in the world and brokenness, and that true justice and peace for all people in that region has not been the case for many hundreds of years. Yeah. And I think what we were discussing is, can there ever be a resolution for something where there's probably, at that point in time when we were talking, remember this is 2021, there was no huge right or wrong side. It was kind of, there was a mixture on both sides, and it was how do you think about things like the atrocities of World War II and all the things that have happened in that meantime. How do you deal with the brokenness of sin and realizing that sometimes we actually are powerless to bring out proper justice and peace? I think that was the conclusion we came to because
the world is corrupted by sin, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that was the conclusion that we came to, at least myself and my teacher and some others in the class. But I think when we started discussing it without that lens, it just ensured into chaos.
Oh, that's interesting. It kind of provided a bit of order to the discussion that you're having, because it's a Christian frame or a moral framework to think from, to actually see those issues differently.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's really carried over into later on. I don't know if we'll leave this like uni and stuff for later, but I do ethics teaching at uni, and that has been so eye-opening, and actually having a Christian perspective has been really, really helpful in thinking about a lot of challenging medical things, but also just life things in general.
Oh, tell us more about that. We may as well. We can jump all over the place. It's a wild ride on the Chip Lunch podcast.
So this year I started doing ethics teaching at uni.
So what does that mean?
So that means that for the first and second year medical students, I facilitate a tutorial. So they'll have a lecture on a topic, and then I will run the tutorial afterwards for a class.
What's an example of the topic?
I mean, we've done everything from like human rights to like last Monday, so like 4 days ago, I did one on voluntary assisted dying.
Wow, yeah.
A few months ago, I did one on abortion. What else have we done? We've done like heart transplants, and whether it's, ethical to harvest them from people who don't actually want to give up their organs. Like we've done all sorts of stuff.
Wow.
But I think one very interesting thing that I've observed in my first and second year when I was a student in those classes was it didn't feel like ethics because it was just one particular perspective. No one was debating. It was just an acceptance of this is what we do and this is where we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But is that ethics? I don't think so. And I think actually when you, like the thinking that I learned from high school and even the Christian lens that I approach ethics with, I think it gives order. But also I think it's worth realizing that our faith is not just illogical, but actually there is a logic and there's a real wisdom and truth that actually is applied in real life. So, I mean, when I realized that those ethics tutorials were like that, I was like, when I get into fourth year and if I ask to be a tutor and they graciously give me a position, I'm going to make sure that I use that to actually have good discussions with people.
Yeah.
And so that's been a lot of hard work. There's a guy next door, like the tutorial next door. He's a very strong Catholic. And so we had an interesting sit down one time after a really tricky tutorial about hormone replacement for people wishing to switch gender.
Okay.
And we had a really interesting discussion about that. And now when I approach ethics tutorials, I want to facilitate good discussion, but it's on both sides and providing rational reasoning. So I say to them at the start, I don't want your emotions and feelings because Western society has become so individualized that it's emotion and your own feelings that become inflated, and that becomes, I guess, your God. What do you feel? Yeah. How does that make me feel?
Yeah.
But that's not what ethics is about.
Yeah.
And I think it's that reasoning and thinking through things. And often you'll reason through things and it will come to a pretty nice spot where I can actually, maybe I'm sitting down with one person, we're having a chat, and then we can reason through things, and they can be like, oh, but where do we go from here? And then I can actually share my faith with them, which is totally really cool.
And there's something really comforting about through that process, like experiencing more that the Christian worldview isn't just like a bubble that you're trying not to pop, but it's something that can bump up against other things and be sustainable. Like it's not something you need to protect.
No.
The Christian worldview and hope that it doesn't bump into something that's going to burst the whole thing. It's like, no, it's robust just like any other worldview. It's logical. It makes sense. And it's like if you think that it's the way that the world was ordered or made or put together or designed or sustained or saved, then it should be bumped up against other things in this created order and makes sense in contrast.
No,
I think that's really cool.
absolutely. It's so cool. And I think, especially in medicine, like there have been a few things that I think I've really challenged the class to think about. And I do it obviously very respectfully.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to have a lot of tact when you
would.
approach these, because you can have some very, very hard conversations with people.
Absolutely.
Vociferous opinions.
No, absolutely. But I mean, like when we're thinking about like utilitarianism, which is a very common perspective in terms of you do what's best for you and best for everybody.
Yeah.
I guess the thing that I push back on, because I'm allowed to be, I guess, a devil's advocate, but
Yeah,
I often,
yeah,
but I mean,
absolutely.
you need to be.
Yeah, and
I
you're
find-
sponsoring, like
Yeah.
you said, actual discussion rather than
Absolutely.
everyone sitting there and being like, yes, this is obviously the
feel this.
obvious answer. And it's like, there's a reason why people are still debating. There's a reason why we're
Yes.
talking about it in ethics.
Yes, absolutely. And I say to them, like, there are flaws, because if you have no true definition of what is good and what is, and a place where you get that definition of goodness,
Yeah.
the world's going to fall to pieces, and you can see that.
Yeah.
You can see it. And it's pretty hard for people to deny that. When you leave people to their own devices, they'll choose what they want. And
Yeah,
that's selfish
exactly.
and
Yeah.
falls
That's
apart.
but that's very similar to the like what you came out of the discussion about the Arab-Israeli conflict. Very same thing of something's robust and solid was where you were able a starting framework, a starting position to go, oh, this is why we think this is the case. Whereas if you take that away, there's nothing to bump it up against, really,
Yeah.
is there?
Yeah.
And so you can't, there's no defining truth
yeah.
a lot of the time in that discussion.
And that confidence, I think, gives you the confidence to be able to let the other position be heard as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because like
That's right.
I'm sure we've all been in discussions, whether it's to do with religion or what's the best Taylor Swift album, where you bump into someone and you go, oh, there is no way this person is going to even hear what I have to say. So what is this discussion? It's not a discussion. It's listening. It's just words being said at each other. And so if you have a trust in your position, the robustness of what you believe in, then you're able to hear out the other person and engage in a real meaningful way, because you're not scared of protecting what you have because you know it's solid. I think that's really a wonderful
Absolutely.
thing.
I think that's just what you're saying there. There's an element of love in
Yeah.
that too, is that if you put aside the fact that you need to protect it and debate it, you can just listen to them and love them.
Yeah.
Then they're probably more open to hear that perspective. Kind of like
absolutely.
what you're saying with your one-on-one discussions.
Yeah, and I think you can also see that there will be common ground that you achieve with people. Often, I guess I say to people, like in my class, I say, like, why do we care about like the patient in front of us? And it's because we value humans. And I was like, well, why do we value humans if we think that we're just, made from, nothing, and then we die and then there's nothing? Why do we value humans?
Yeah.
And people get really stumped. They're like, because we can think. And I was like, but, animals can, reason out things and figure out where to go for food. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, did you use otters? I love otters.
ooh. Otters haven't come up in my class yet.
Oh.
But you do
Yeah.
get to this realization, and people have thanked me at the end of classes because they're like, actually, you've made me think about a lot of stuff in terms of like, why do we care about human life?
Yeah.
And I often, I say at the end of the class as well, I say, ethics will give you lots of different frameworks and perspectives for thinking about things, but you need to have a source of moral truth to actually come to an understanding of the way to approach it, because otherwise you're going to get overwhelmed with so many ways of approaching things.
Absolutely.
And I say to them, if you ever want to chat to me about where I get my real sense of truth and definitive knowledge, you can always come chat to me.
That's awesome.
You sound very well prepared for these discussions. Where does that come from? Like, obviously you must have had to put in a lot of work to make it happen.
Yeah,
It
so
must have been pretty daunting to do the first one at the very least.
it definitely was daunting to do the first one. I mean, we have lecture slides and tutorial notes. I don't really use the tutorial notes. I mean, the guy next door who does the other tutorial, he was like, scrap that. You need to have like a, an actual discussion and debate. And I was like, okay, facts. But I read the lecture, I see what the topics are that come up, and then I will often do a fair amount of reading myself. Read my Bible and praying a lot. That's actually really important. Praying for the class and praying that, it's important to recognize that logical arguments will never lead somebody to put their faith in Jesus. Yes, our faith is backed up by logic, but Paul says in the New Testament that it's not by human wisdom that we come to an understanding. Of the cross, it's, foolishness to humans. But I think, it's still a really important way to put my faith into action. The way that I do it though, pray, read my Bible. I also read a lot of literature and a lot of things, especially on like The Guardian, ABC, reading a lot of external opinion pieces to see what people are thinking. And then I write down things, read from Christian bioethicists. My current favorite Christian bioethicist is a lady called Dr. Megan Best. She's from Sydney. She's a palliative care doctor and a bioethicist who works at Notre Dame. And she's written some really helpful Christian books. One specifically about like beginning of life. It's called Fearfully and Wonderfully Made. I've almost finished it. It's fantastic. I'd recommend it to any young Christian thinking about things like contraception or beginning of life, IVF, all of that. Fantastic.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Super biblically based as well. And she also does like end of life care as well.
Awesome.
So that's been super, super helpful.
It's very encouraging to hear, like, just yourself or other people, like Dr. Megan Best.
Yeah.
There we go. I remembered it. Of knowing that it's interesting. Like, we're talking about the debating thing, but they're trying to influence culture in a way, I think, that is more, what's the right word? Like, it's more accessible in a way. Like doing that, like she's writing a book, or you're just doing that. I think it speaks to how, as Christians, we don't have to change the world, but we also can have an influence on it in the areas that we're in. Like in Braden, you were a pastor. It's a different way, but it's even like what you're doing now, Emily. Even so, at my work, someone said something. I can't remember. They're like, "Oh, Joel's not going to agree with that." I'm like, "Well, why do you say that?" And he's like, "Well, I just can't imagine you saying something like that." I'm like, "Oh, so you actually pay attention to how I think about things sometimes." Like that's really interesting. Anyway, I'm not trying to, say how good I am, how holy I am, but it's an example of just that wherever we are, God has given us the ability to live out. I'm thinking about in context of like in being in 1 Peter, about how we live out in the world.
Absolutely.
And we can do that because we have this, we're chosen, we have this faith. It's really solid, like we've been saying, and then we can actually influence the circles that we're in. Which
Absolutely.
is really cool.
And I think what my mum has always told me, like from when I was really young, is, to those who much is given, much is to be expected. God has given me so much in terms of just the time that I have at uni, the flexibility I've had this year, the opportunity to, do things alongside my peers and other Christian peers at uni, which has been so, so helpful. My love of learning and reading and talking with people, that has just been such a big, I can see how it's all kind of led to me doing something like this and actually having those open discussions. Yeah,
it's cool. Let's bring it back to year 9. So
I feel like it's like Back to the Future. We're just like jumping between my timeline. I like that.
That's the best way to do it. You should know that as a podcaster yourself.
Oh, we tend to have a bit of order. I'm not going to lie.
I thought you might.
I'm like bracing myself, like, where are we going next in the Emily journey? No, keep going.
Wow, yeah, strap in, guys. On the roller coaster of chip. It's just like a big chip, the roller coaster. You just sit in a big potato chip.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we do that. The point that you said before was that you had a bit of existential, thank you, crisis around year 9. What do you think that was? Was it to do with the kind of performance thing that you've talked about, or is it something different?
I think it was that there'd been a couple of things that I'd done that probably no one else had kind of known had happened, but things happened and I was like, oh my goodness, like I feel like such a terrible person. And I think I was like, actually, oh, if I come to the end of my life, will God actually forgive me?
Wow.
I think that was kind of like just realizing that over my life, I'm not perfect. I think there's just this crushing realization. Like it wasn't even a big thing that happened. It was just all the little things just came to a big crunch. And I went, oh my goodness, I am not perfect and I will never be perfect. And I can't actually do anything to measure up to God. And I think that when it hit me, I think for a bit I was just like, what do I do? because it's funny because I'd heard the gospel so many times throughout my life, and I was like, Jesus forgives us if we put our faith in him. But I was just like, oh, I'm really, 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 really not good. And will God actually forgive me? Will God actually love me for all the things that I've done throughout my life? Like, can he actually forgive me? And I think as someone who holds myself to really high standards in everything that I do, it felt like the weight of the world was on me.
Well, if you had this realization and compared to those higher standards, that's where the dissonance.
Oh, absolutely. I was just like, oh my goodness, I am actually not that good at all. I'm actually pretty bad. And so realizing that, I think I really had to go, like, is God there? Does he hear me? Does he love me? And will he forgive me? And that was a very humbling experience.
It was a giving over of yourself. Like you were still, tell me if I'm wrong, was it you were saying that, or you were feeling that you had actually controlled, almost like you had been in control of your salvation, and this was I've got to give this over to God now. So and that was a hard thing for you to do.
Yeah, I think year 6 was understanding it's a relationship, and then year 9 was an understanding, yes, it's a relationship, but that means that you didn't do anything to earn that relationship. In fact, it's God reaching out to you to save you from somewhere where you couldn't save yourself. Like Ephesians 2 and 3, speaking about like it's all God's work. You were dead in your sins. I think I just realized that for the first time, and I went, I cannot do a single thing. There is not a single grade I can get on a test. There's not a single, I don't know, like anything I can do. There's nothing I can know that will get me to heaven. There's nothing I can do except for put my faith in Jesus. Yeah.
And so it was a real, and this happens like for a lot of teenagers in terms of your identity. This was a real reckoning for your identity.
I think so, yeah.
What got you through it and out the other side?
I think it was actually just reading my Bible and praying habitually, praying with other friends as well, talking to them about what I was thinking. Reading that book, as I said, and starting to read Christian books for myself was really helpful. And yeah, I think chatting with teachers at school who were Christian and other people at church, that was definitely what really helped. But I think praying and reading my Bible properly and seeing who Jesus is and seeing that he calls the sinners, he doesn't call, perfect people, because there are none. I think that was when that was when it all clicked.
Wow. And so once you go through this, what you would describe as a really difficult time, your faith was obviously strengthened after that too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Wow. There we go.
Yeah.
Which leads you to going to, like, even these discussions we're having about uni, is that comes from that point.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Okay. And I think, in later high school, like year 11 and 12, like I was in COVID, so it was pretty... Yeah, it was a bit of a rip, but it's meant that I've had a fantastic time at university, and I think my faith definitely strengthened year 10 to year 12. That was when I moved churches as well to Solis. Yay. But I think in university, my knowledge of the Bible and my understanding of my identity, not as a student, not as a med student, not as someone who can, I don't know, be a good friend or be a good daughter or sister. My identity is actually being in Christ has been really brought to the forefront and emphasized in my life.
And those things that you care about, which you just said there, would are strengthened because of that.
Absolutely.
The other way around of like we all have our ways of going, I'll do this in my own strength. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's a good way to leave episode 1 of Emily's Chip Lunch. But we'll be back next week and we're going to talk about year 12, COVID. Yeah. Uni.
Yeah.
And
all the good stuff.
Bible.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff to talk about. So we'll see you next week. Come back soon.